the examination in civic education and ethics. We hope that will go now through all the education system in the country. What will be the impact of that? We wait to see. But the other problems are according to how we answer the following questions, which are the last for reflection. Market and the political liberalization and their effect on national unity. What has patriotism come to mean in liberal democracy and the economy in Tanzania? Media liberty in democratically restricted environment. What is the role of mass media in a democratic society? Who decides what is mass media ethics? What should be contained in ethics syllabuses for primary schools? I was just joking with my students the other day that there was a question in primary school ethics test. Kitu gani kinatia aibu katika taifa letu? So that joke goes, Yanga Sports Club, and other funny things. And the teacher just says, excellent, 100%. Because the teacher was a Simba fan. But that joke wants to tell us this thing. Yes, we have a syllabus of ethics in primary school. Who is teaching that syllabus? Is this teacher trained in ethics? That is the problem. Who formulated that syllabus? Is he or she an expert in philosophy, in ethics? Then, if we are not careful, we are going back to upe. They used to joke, ualimu pasipo elimu. So, how do we correct the dominance, for example, of legality instead of morality in our nation? Go to every institution supposed to be regulating ethics. Who is there as the regulator? Lawyers. I'm not saying lawyers should not be in the regulatory authorities, but is legal approach enough? Do lawyers who deal with what is allowed and forbidden in the society, the appropriate people, for example, to work in a TBS, or to work with those who regulate our arts and our music, for example? So those are questions to be asked. As last, meritocracy versus employability in Tanzania. What do you think about it? You are in that system. You are now making yourself merit the national cake of this country. What happens if you don't get that cake? After all that trouble, then we have to ask ourselves also of the aim of our education. Thank you very much for listening.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Josephat Muhoza, for your wonderful presentation. And you actually made me wonder, anayeliaibisha taifa ni Simba au Yanga jamani? Okay, all right. basi mtuache wananchi na timu yetu. I hope now that Dr. Muhoza has not given us questions to ask him. I would love to invite at least 3 questions, very short ones, brief to the point, that are not mentioned there. I see a hand, and a hand, and a hand. So 3.
Okay. My name is Kapakala Jojujo, third year student, philosophy and ethics. My question that in philosophy of education by Mwalimu Nyerere wasn't based on testing according to examinations paper results. But nowadays, it seems that our education trusts much about the examination papers results as the student to be competent. And in that way, what today's is it to trust much on examination papers results as the testing to the student? Is it the way going in matter of testing? And if yes, why there is a problem of employment? And as we know that we cannot talk about the education system without link about employment. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Kindly. Just behind. There.
My name is Collins Flank. I'm a student of philosophy and ethics. So probably Mr. Muhoza is my teacher. So my question is, we have heard about the quote from Mwalimu Julius Kambarage, which state that education without philosophy is just like a car without a ladder. It means a steering wheel. For example, in 1967, where Arusha Declaration introduced, there were several things introduced. For example, education for self-reliance, which means that it was philosophy with education at the same time where work. But in 1980s, Tanzania was attacked with famine and hunger, which means philosophy and education at the same times fail. So we have a lot of questions in current generation that there is a large number of students who graduate in their degrees, but they fail to use the knowledge that they had to make sure that they trade that knowledge to make sure that they survive in their life. So that means we only base in education without philosophy, while at 1967 when we introduced philosophy and education, it also make us to fail in 1980s. So how education and philosophy can work together and lead us to the good way to succeed in our life?
Thank you. The best way is you write your question shortly, Okay, just behind there. Yes.
Okay. My name is Hassan Musa, a third-year student in philosophy and ethics. I have like a comment or a suggestion. There is a famous saying that says, if you want to hide something from an African, put it in the books. But due to the knowledge I got from the first year and the second year in this philosophy course, I think the only way to hide something from anyone, be it an African, European, or Asian, is to make sure they can't think, or to make sure they think in a certain order. And the easiest way to make a person to think in a certain order or not to think any alternative way is to make them busy and give them books to read what you want them to. So I suggest the Tanzanian education should teach students to think more than reading. Because when you read, it's like you're getting information. But when you think on what you're reading, now you can get the knowledge. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That is straight enough. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, and mine will be very brief. And this one goes to the part of knowledge, philosophical knowledge, and hermeneutics, epistemology and hermeneutics. So, Doctor, so impressed by the way you analyze knowledge. And I got confused when you stopped at the point where you say knowledge is a justified true belief, which actually Edmond Gettier in 1963 tried to define that in a one-page paper, and he got a PhD. I'd just like to, also you are very much versed with Martin Heidegger, Sein und Zeit on being and time. And I think Martin Heidegger gives a methodological view of understanding knowledge, and that is what I want. I would like you to tell us something as far as knowledge is concerned with relation to how it is applicable in Tanzania based on Heideggerian concept of knowledge.
Thank you. For 10 seconds, a question there.
My name is Adija M. Hamadi. I'm third year. I'm studying philosophy and ethics. I think you talk about education for self-reliance. I have one but two questions. My first question, why does Tanzania need education for self-reliance in political and socio-economic? And another question, do you think does Tanzania's system of education reveal the policy of education for self-reliance in current issues?
Well, thank you very much. And now I'm going to give a chance to our secondary school students. Anyone who wants to ask a question or say a word. Secondary school students, anyone? A bonus question from you. You have to say a word today so that you come to study philosophy. Atakayeuliza nampa 10,000 pia. That is what money can't buy. Karibu. Swali fupi kabisa.
Okay, thank you. I got a quote from the ancient philosopher called Plato, and my question comes from there. Plato believed that all people can easily exist in harmony when society gives them equal education opportunity from early age to fairly complete with each other. So I got the question to Professor that, is this true that when equal education opportunity is given to all people in the society, will they exist in harmony and reach to the social, political, and economic development?
See, a very philosophical question. Thank you very much. Now I will welcome you, Dr. Muhoza. You know that in philosophy there is no time. And so I will give you just 3 minutes to sum up everything that was asked, no more than 3 minutes. Karib Sam.
Thank you. That saying of yours is in Western philosophy. In Africa, we make time. Okay, the idea of examination as the criteria or criterion for evaluation of students or pupils from Kapakala Jonijo. It is true that Nyerere did not think that only exams should decide the value of a student or the value of education obtained by a student, but how the student can, or the pupil can master his or her environment after going through education. That was the most important. But we should not say he didn't favor exams. There were exams even during Mwalimu Nyerere. I think my head of department would be my witness. They had exams. But what he wanted to say was that exams should not determine the life of a student in the future after going through school. Because exams are just to evaluate whether this student was paying attention during the classes and has or has not put in the head what was taught by the teacher. But at the same time, passing exams do not indicate that this fellow is clever. There are many who pass exams and they fail life. So that is very important to know. And remember, not everything which is there to be known is taught in schools. There are some talents which you do not learn from anywhere or from anybody. Those who are doing arts can testify to what I'm saying. You don't learn from anybody how to play a piano. It is a talent. You don't learn from anybody how to play football. That is what you find yourself having. You can only learn how to organize it. So exams do not measure everything. Education for self-reliance was hunger strike in Tanzania in that year due to failure of education for self-reliance or due to failure of connecting philosophy with education. Philosophy, I said, is about three things. It is about man, the universe, and God. And therefore, events in the universe will always be there, whether you think of them or you don't think of them. Because philosophy is about reflection on what happens in the society. But hunger, which was caused, for example, by drought, how is it connected to education and philosophy? It is connected, but remotely. What Plato said, education is the use of knowledge for the advantage of man. So if our educated people were able to foresee the drought coming and then apply their knowledge to make what at a given time some politician were telling us to make artificial rain, for example, then we couldn't have that hunger. So in a way, it was connected. In a way, it was not connected. So we still can say education should be guided by philosophy. And there, let me a little bit add. What we want to say is this. Try to have a scientist who is not moral, or who is not ethical. Then you will know what it means that philosophy should lead education. Those scientists will be making experiments on you as a human being. They will be bringing you the coronas and all those things just so that they can sell their medicine. That is the problem of education without morality. Another one is to teach students to think more than reading. Because he is my student, just pray that I don't see you not reading. Because this is the question, a challenge from a lazy student. Reading is necessary, especially in our setting of education. But what you read, you should follow up. The one who wrote, how did he come to the writing of that? That is what you call study. So read, yes, but make research. Relate the reading to the reality. Knowledge as its and its implication in Tanzania in connection to Martin Heidegger. Okay, Martin Heidegger is a phenomenologist, and he wanted, in short, that human experience be looked at its surface value. He talks, for example, in being and time, sign and sight. He talks about truth. For him, truth is human. If there is no human being, truth does not exist. Now, can you apply that to Tanzanian situation? If you have looked at the heading of my dissertation, I was engaging him in a dialogue. And that is one of the questions I was asking him. Do you think that truth being human, then where is the reference of truth? Reference of truth always must be above the one making reference. In every truth, there must be a model of truth, what we call the maximum truth, from which other truths make reference. So you have logical truth, you have moral truth, you have political truth, you have social truth, and so on. All those must have a reference to make. So I would have invited Martin Heidegger to come to Africa and look at the Ubuntu truth. But I'm sure at the years he lived, he would refuse the invitation. Education for self-reliance and its applicability in Tanzania, that is what I have just said. Then a good question from the secondary school students. All people can live in harmony if they get equal opportunity. Is that true? If they get equal opportunity at education. That is true. What Plato was referring to was the society should make sure that everybody is removed from the cave. If you follow up the allegory of the cave in his educational theory. All people, according to him, before they get educated, are like prisoners in the cave, where they are looking at shadows and they think that those shadows are realities. Now, it is the work of the leaders or the politicians or the philosopher kings to give chance to everybody in that society to come out of the cave and look at the light of the sun. And that is what he meant by education. So if everybody is given that chance, even by force, according to Plato, then they will have equal opportunity at the fortunes of the society. I think I have answered your question. Thank you very much for your listening and for your participation.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Josephat Muhoza, for your presentation and for the feedback to all the questions that were raised today here. I will kindly ask you again to offer him a round of applause. Okay, so after all the wonderful presentations from everybody since morning, I hope you have at least got the taste of what philosophy looks like. And I am sure even our department will work hard to establish new courses like philosophy and economics so as to bring in more tests into those. Our acting head of department will probably highlight on those. I will break protocol a little. There are some winners, essay writing winners. We are waiting for the names to come, but meanwhile, so as we save time, I will kindly invite our acting head of department, who has worked day and night to ensure that this event is successful, Dr. Daluka. And when he comes up in front, I will ask all of you again to stand up and offer him a wonderful welcoming round of applause. Everybody, we stand up and welcome him for the wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Com. My task here is actually to offer a closing remarks. And I can see from your faces, from the smile that you make, the impression that you give, it indicates that you still need to deliberate more on issues that are of concern to our society. And that makes me very, very happy that, since this morning we've been discussing and getting introduced to issues that highlights the importance of philosophy, not only to the university, but also to our lives, to our society, and to the nation at large. We have heard speeches that highlights areas that we think they are not philosophy. We had presenters presenting here issues related to education. For example, the last presenter presented issues related to education. And for many would take for granted that education is not grounded to philosophy. We had presenter that presented on economics, agribusiness. And for others would think agribusiness is not grounded in philosophy. But now we see it is grounded in philosophy. We were talking issues related to gender equality and gender women justice, issues related to democracy, social justice, and the like. Of course, it gives me a lot of happiness to be discussing philosophy at the University of Dar es Salaam. The University of Dar es Salaam, we know, is home to many disciplines. We teach here physics, we teach geography, we teach engineering, we teach agriculture, we teach sociology, we teach psychology, you name them. There are many. That and all of them, they are founded on philosophy. If you look back, you'll find that, as has been said here, philosophy is indeed the mother of all disciplines that you know. They are all founded in philosophy. I don't want to give more and take more of your time. I wanted to just highlight and summarize what was said today and give the importance that has been said. So for students that are taking philosophy, this actually should make you move with your head raised high because you are actually studying something that is fundamental in our society. And actually, as a department, we want to ground and put more emphasis on this discipline. So now we have 5 programs actually that are run by the department. We have BA in philosophy and ethics. We have MA in ethics of governance and public service. We have PhD by thesis in philosophy. We have PhD in religious studies by thesis, and PhD in comparative religions by thesis. In future, we think of adding more programs. We are thinking of having a program in religious studies, more program, BA program, but also program in philosophy with other discipline like the Dean of Ceremony was introducing. But again, reflecting on what has been said today, we are indebted to several issues. For example, it has come to our attention that many people were following through social medias, the internet and they were following this discussion through social media and other networks. And their concern was that, the gender aspect was not taken into consideration. And you can see, we had only 2 women presenters in our conference. But also, even issues related to gender inequalities, gender social justice was kind of neglected. In the social media, there were also issues related to issues of gender and sexual harassment, and etc., which needs to be reflected by philosophers. And to that note, we have noted perhaps in the future we can organize a conference on African women in philosophy, perhaps, to look and deliberate on that area. Or we can have another conference on Africa philosophy, as it was suggested by Sanded, Professor Sanded. And in that philosophy or philosophical conference, we can have a theme that looks at women in philosophy or African women in philosophy. Another thing that was missing in today's conference, I think, and we are taking it for future preparation, is the issue of Islamic social justice. We had only one part of the theory, the theological theory of social justice, and that was coming from a Christian perspective. Perhaps next time we will look at how we can get an Islamic scholar to look at Islamic social justice on that. But again, looking at what was coming from you, participant, the need to engage, the need to discuss and deliberate on the issue. I realized that the time that we have set was limited. Next time, we'll have more time for discussion so that many people will get time to give their thought and critically look at what is presented, and therefore we can enhance our thinking, but also help in the advancement of knowledge. Allow me to give thanks to a number of people. First, though the guest of honor is not here, but really I'm indebted to thank him for really taking the time to come. It was a pleasure to have him here. But in addition to that, I want to thank you, participants, for the active participation that we've provided today. You were really vibrant and engaging. And you can see it was only time that was limited, but you wanted to engage, to continue the discussion and the questions, seeking answers and engagement. So what we can do, we will promise that we will organize events like these in the near future and give you time to again come and share your thinking and your thought. Another other group that I want to thank is the supporter. What you see here have been facilitated by a number of institutions. And I need to mention them here, really, because without them, perhaps we will have difficulty accomplishing what we have accomplished today. I would like to thank UNESCO, but also CAS. They are still there in the exhibition. But also, I would like to thank the university for supporting this event. Other institutions have supported the event materially. They are also acknowledged in this event. Last but not least, I would like to thank the organizers again. Actually, here, I should also mention the architect, Dr. Nandera. I came in the middle of nowhere. Nandera has already set the tune, and together with the organizer. Can you stand up, please, the organizing committee again for recognition, because you have done wonders, actually. Asanteni sana for a very good work that we've done. Perhaps before I finish my closing remarks, I should also thank the students from White Lakes. Can you stand up, please, students from White Lake Secondary School? They are here with us since morning, and they have been really instrumental. Na wale wa St. Pio's college, students from St. Pio College, they are not here. St. Pio, Santeni sana, karibuni. So you can see also that the university is trying to engage with the community in a way of introducing what we have here at the University of Dar es Salaam. We have been doing that as part of community engagement, and we will continue doing that. Our philosophy club, we will revise and modernize it in a way that it engage with the community as well. It should transfer the debate not only here apart, but make it part of the university engagement with the community. So now I think we are ready now to give awards, and I really need to, as part of community engagement, thank the students who participated in essay writing. We received more than 200 essays from students and individuals from the community, from University of Dar es Salaam, and other universities, private and public. From the 200 essays, we subjected them into plagiarism software, where we managed to get good essays, 20 good essays from the software, which indicated that the 20 essays were original. The 20 essays were again subjected to review, where we were able to get 5 best essays. And these 5 best essays, actually they are all winners because they are all good. They are good essays written by one of our students here, but also some coming from neighbor university. So let us allow Dr. Kom to welcome the essay winners.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Thomas Ndaluka, for the vote of thanks, and we kindly ask you to stand there. And when we mention the student's name, if you are mentioned, you come up here, take your gift, and then go behind the seats so as you can take photos. And before that, while our head and the members of the department are arranging themselves, I shall remind you that after this, there should be some evening tea, and this evening tea will be taken where you took your lunch. So please don't go anywhere. Stay with us because there is enough meal for everybody today. And again, the students from White Lake, I am told, you should go in some opening. I think outside there, wait for the bus soon after the tea. So please don't leave before you take the tea. Now I will welcome one of the key organizers of the events, Mr. Valerius Mujuni, who will mention the names of the winner, starting from the 5th. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Asante sana for this opportunity. And the 5th winner is Ironga Desdeli Sigonda of the University of Dar es Salaam, Department of History. He is not present among us, but there should be one representative. Karibu. Mkuu wa idara yuko mazingira haya, kwa hiyo anafika kuipokea kwa niaba. Ironga Pat Desdeli ndo huyu hapa, kumbe yupo kwa niaba. Hapana. Samani, mkuu wa idara kumbe nimechanganya. Mkuu wa idara huyu ni wa sheria. Kwa hiyo anaweza mwanafunzi anakuja. Yeye anakuja, nafasi yake inakuja mkuu wa idara. Sawa. Huyu ni wa sheria. Samani nimekosea. Ndio. Mkuu wa idara anaendelea kupozi hapa. Na mshindi wetu wa 4, the 4th winner from Jordan University, Agathon Theodori. And the 3rd winner of the University of Dar es Salaam, Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies, Emmanuel Masola. Here now, and the 2nd winner, Alma Simba of the University of Dar es Salaam, Department of History. Now, kwa idara, karibu. There now comes the opportunity that you have been long awaiting. Who is the master for this now? As a competitors. And there goes, by name, Risa Patrick, MA, Masters of Arts in Ethics of Governance and Public Service, University of Dar es Salaam, Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies. There before she goes, mkuu wa idara, mshindi wa pili anajitokeza, atapokea kwa mkuu wake wa idara, lakini naomba tumrecognize Aruma Simba. Anasogea mshindi wetu wa kwanza wa Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies, University of Dar es Salaam, a master student, Lisa Patrick. Karibu. Tusiwachoyo, tusimame hata tumshangilie dada wetu jamani. Ameweza hajaweza? Ameweza hajaweza?
Okay, now we will get some group photo, and the organizer, please, there is a seat for you up there. The winners and the head of department. Well, a round of applause to them once again, our winners. And this is a call to you all next year when we have another United Nations World Philosophy Day. Kindly participate in the competitions. You might end up being a winner. And I will remind you, because the head of department has already closed the sessions, we will now go for evening tea before we leave. So please go where you have taken your lunch and